Excitement was high on January 28, 1986. It was a fateful day for all Americans. The Challenger space shuttle was about to soar into space, and for the first time, it was carrying a schoolteacher, Christa McAuliffe. In the words of President Ronald Reagan, we were sending one of America's finest, a schoolteacher, into space. Christa McAuliffe, the teacher in space. Sharon Christa Corrigan McAuliffe was born September 2, 1948 in Boston, Massachusetts. She was born a leader. She was walking and talking before most all of her friends. Anyone would tell you, Christa was a leader in all of the things her friends did as a group. Christa was 12 years old in 1961 when her view of space changed completely. She took a great interest, because Alan Shepard was about to become the first man in space. This truly fascinated Christa McAuliffe. It was from the day she watched Shepard's shuttle fly into space that she wanted to go. After applying for the opportunity many times, Christa was finally chosen to become the very first teacher in space. Being the teacher that Christa was, she wanted to teach from space. She planned to write journals and lesson plans. In interviews, she told people, "Anyone with a satellite TV can watch me teach from space." It was Christa's one true mission to foster children's love of space at a young age. She planned to write journals before she went into space and while she was in space, and even teach live lessons for all to watch while she was there. She had many trials and tribulations before she went into space. She would train with the other 9 members of her crew until the fateful day came when the shuttle was ready to be launched. Then came the fateful day that Christa McAuliffe had waited for all of her life. The shuttle cleared the landing pad and launched, its engines roaring to life. The countdown on the shuttle was actually stopped at T-minus 9 minutes. Mission Control then determined that there was no danger and proceeded to launch the flight. It was then that a great malfunction happened, due to the flames igniting a tank containing oxygen. The fuel was ignited into a huge fireball, and the craft was flung off course. It was almost immediately torn apart by huge forces in the atmosphere. Mission Control gave the shuttle permission to launch their backup boosters, and this was when the explosion occurred. People stared in shock and awe at the shuttle that had just exploded in the very sky. The first time something like this had happened. Christa McAuliffe began to fade into history until nearly 22 years later, when her lesson plans were stumbled upon by accident. Jerry Woodfill had worked for NASA for over 40 years. One day he was going through old papers when he found short video snips of Christa McAuliffe and the rest of the crew performing tests and trials before they left for space. And then he found some of Christa's lesson plans that she had planned to teach. Woodfill worked with other members of his engineering team to restore these lesson plans and make them viewable to the public. He posted them to the Challenger Mission Center's website and made them available for teachers to use in their classrooms to teach kids the lost lessons of Christa McAuliffe plans. And more kids began to think about her legacy and what all she had done. Schools were holding memorials and ceremonies to remember her, and the kids were learning more and more about space every single day. Her legacy was being carried out, and students were regaining the love of space that she had hoped to instill in them. Christa McAuliffe was a true American leader who wasn't afraid to stand up and be the first female teacher in space. Her legacy was carried out well, and now children have a fonder love of space than they ever have. Christa is an inspiration to all of us, inspiring us to reach for the final frontier that is space.